Hi, Jeremy Crow here. In this video, I'm going to tell a little story and then I'm going to explain a little bit about it afterwards. Now, imagine this were to actually happen. Now, something along the lines of the Mars Attacks radio program that was kind of a hoax in a way, perpetrated by Orson Welles back in the day. Now, imagine this. Imagine the news around the world starts reporting that 9 giant, apparently motherships, alien ships, very large alien ships, are descending upon the Earth in 9 locations, 9 key locations around the globe, and now are hovering about 2,000 feet above the surface. You have these world leaders coming and having press conferences, and they say something along the lines of, everybody stay calm, we're going to explain to you what we know about what's happening here. We have known for some time that there has been alien technology, meaning technology from beyond this planet, that has been in the space above the planet, in our atmosphere, and even traveling through our oceans. This technology, we've managed to capture some of it, and we've studied it and have gained a few insights about it. But one of the main mysteries that we had for a long time was whether there were pilots that were intelligently controlling these devices, and who they were. We now have the answer to that question. There are 2 factions of aliens. Both of them were established in, let's say, Alpha Centauri. And a breakaway civilization occurred, and they took up residence in Zeta Reticuli. Now, this breakaway civilization ended up developing along their own lines of evolution and developed into a more aggressive, conquering species, whereas the one that they had broken off from in Alpha Centauri went on to become more peaceful and spiritual and less physical, less physically focused, let's say. Now, in the distant past, there had been alien contact on our planet, and some of the DNA from this alien species, the root alien species that's common between them, did make it into some of the species on Earth, including what is now become modern humans. So modern humans do have some of this alien DNA shared with these 2 species of alien that have developed from Alpha Centauri and Zeta Reticuli. Now, the Alpha Centaurians are peaceful, as I said, and they have a policy of non-interference. But they are now here, and these are their motherships, because they have been forced to interfere in order to protect us from the Zeta Reticulans, who are intending to conquer Earth and enslave humanity and all of life on the planet, in a sense, for their own purposes, for their own resources and labor, etc. And so the Alpha Centaurians are stepping in now to protect Earth from this external threat that they feel almost like they are responsible for helping protect people from this specific breakaway civilization that splintered off from theirs many thousands of years ago. They do not communicate in the same way we do through verbal vibrations and compressions of the air and listening, right? They don't communicate in the same way through vocal sounds. They communicate more concisely and less symbolically through a bioenergetic wave that their bodies are able to produce and receive. And we could think of it almost like telepathy, but it's a biological, physical, scientifically studyable thing. And those of us who have higher amounts of this alien DNA that has made it down through evolution into us, some of the people are sensitive to these bioenergetic waves and can communicate with the aliens in a very rudimentary way, which we are trying to improve. And we've managed to have some communications with these entities. Now, in the past, in the very early stages when this DNA was introduced, those who were hybridized were the ones that were set up to be rulers in this world as an attempt from these Zeta Reticulans to kind of control the planet back in an early attempt to conquer the planet. And so those hybridized individuals were the ones in positions of power. And that whole system failed. It was a failed attempt at conquering Earth, but in the preceding millennia, since those ancient times, there was a cataclysm and it sent them away, whatever, and to make another attempt later. And in the meantime, that DNA ended up staying within the upper echelons of power elites on the planet, because humans tend not to mate very much outside of their social class. So the rulers are the ones that do have the higher levels of DNA, and they're the ones that are able to have this rudimentary communication with the alien species that are here from Alpha Centauri to help us. So that essentially is a modern interpretation, my own interpretation of an old conspiracy theory called Project Blue Beam. This was put forward over 20 years ago by, actually the journalist was a French Canadian named Serge Monast, I believe his name was, and he put forward this theory more than 20 years ago. But he had more religious elements in it. Now, I don't believe that you need to convert people to a new religion. I believe that you just need to modify their scientific worldview, because people have scientific beliefs and they have their religious beliefs, and they can have a huge amount of dissonance between those two worldviews, and somehow they're able to mesh those two worldviews and have them coexist within themselves, and it's not a problem. This happens all the time with people a lot, right? So you just have to modify that scientific part, and you're not going to get people's defenses up by trying to convert them to a new religion, although in essence, these individuals with the higher levels of alien DNA, so-called, or claimed, would be a priest class, in a sense, as intercessors between the masses of humanity and these superior beings, superior in terms of intelligence, technology, potentially lifespan, things like that. And they're able to be these intercessors for humanity, between humanity and these superior beings. It's like a form of religion, a really old school religion. Now, I don't know if you ever saw that movie by Mel Gibson, Apocalypto, where this Mesoamerican, cult, essentially, that is ruling they have knowledge that the masses don't have about how astronomical events occur, and they're doing these sacrifices. The sun eclipses, and so the light is gone. People are like, oh no, our God has removed the light from us, has withdrawn his light. And they're like, the priest starts speaking to the God, and they're like giving the other priests like knowing glances, and they're kind of like snickering to themselves, and they're like, oh God, is this sacrifice acceptable to you? And then the sun comes back, and they say, he answered, he has given us his light back, his thirst has been quenched from the blood of the sacrifices, our harvest is going to be great, blah blah blah, right? And people are like, yeah, and of course they believe it because they can see it with their own eyes. Now imagine this whole scenario that I'd already put forward is a hoax, with technology such as like holographic projections. You have like Tupac on stage, but on a higher level, or on a much grander scale than that. Something along those lines. And now you have reestablished the same level of control that these power elites were able to wield in the past, when people had these superstitious beliefs, and they could control them based off of their beliefs and establish their positions of power through saying that they are intercessors for divine beings. You can reestablish that same level of ultimate control over humanity and concentrate global power into a one world government, which can be easily justified as we need to unite in order to fight this external threat. And we have the guidance of this superpowered being, a race of superpowered beings on our side to go against these other superpowered beings. Sound familiar? Well, if you see something like that happening, just remember Project Bluebeam. And if you like this topic, I do things like this, fringe topics, esoteric knowledge, that sort of thing on this channel all the time. So I'd love if you would subscribe to my channel and join me on this journey. And until next time, everybody, stay lucid.